my friends, it's me, Karen Valentine. Welcome back to my channel. And the real-time coloring that we are doing on this page by Erin Ewer. It is from the book Fantasy and Fae, and it is available in her Etsy shop as a PDF download or a physical book. So this is printed on my Desert Storm cardstock from the PDF book. And if you haven't seen it already, and this is your first time visiting the channel, there is a flip through on my channel for this particular book. Also, speaking of the Desert Storm cardstock, a very wonderful gal found small packs of this paper on another website. I think it's called Simon Says Stamp. I will put a link to that in the description box below the video. And so instead of purchasing 250 sheets from Amazon, you can try it by purchasing 25 sheets. It's a lot more affordable as far as, you know, being able to buy a smaller amount. It is more per sheet when you buy it that way, but it's definitely a smaller investment if you want to try out the paper. I know you're going to love it. Everybody who has left me a comment, who has purchased the paper, has loved it. So all I ask as a favor to me is that if you do purchase it over there and you fall in love with it and you want to buy the larger pack, it would be so very, very awesome if you would come over to my channel and follow the Amazon link that I have down in the description box to buy that larger pack. Okay, so that is great news. I was really excited about that because I know a lot of you have spent a gazillion amounts of dollars on paper that you didn't like. And so this way, I think it's only like $6 for a pack of 25. So it's a lot more affordable to try it out. Okay, so we are going to work on the roses, the mushrooms, and all of those little bits. And so I think I will go ahead and start with the flowers. Now, if you're working on white, I don't know why I'm saying it that way, white. Now, if you're working on white paper, you probably will skip this step because obviously your paper is already white and you will not have to do this. But I am going to go through and I'm going to add the white in to the flowers. And what I am going to do here is I'm going to do the spots that I know that I want to be brighter white, and I'm going to do them a little bit heavier, and I think I'll go ahead and just do them first. That way, when I go back in and I fill in the rest with white, I can go with a much lighter hand, make it a little bit lighter and softer. And then we're going to add some grays and some yellows. So again, the areas that I want to appear as being more forward or more, or being hit by more of the light, I'm going to do lighter. And the areas that I want to recede will be a little bit darker. had a giant sale. I don't remember if I mentioned this or not. Last weekend, so Easter weekend, I had a huge sale in my backyard, selling off all of my inventory that I used in my business to fellow vendors and people who are also in the business. And that was very successful. I was very, very pleased with that. I sold off probably 75% of my stuff that weekend. But then I had a bunch of stuff left, and I had a bunch of stuff, household stuff. Like I've been cleaning out my house and taking my house back basically after being in the business for a while. And it's so nice to have all that stuff out of here. But anyway, where I was getting with that was this last weekend we also had a garage sale out front. And so I've been hauling stuff in and out and in and out for the last 2 weeks. Well, 3 weeks probably, while getting ready for that sale. And it's finally over, and it's all gone. Anything that was left, we took over and donated to Salvation Army. So it feels really good to get it all gone. But I am tired. That was a lot of work, and things are warming up here for sure. And sitting outside in that, I really shouldn't call it that heat, because compared to our true summers, it wasn't that bad. But it got up probably into the low 90s this weekend. And when you're working and just sitting out there in the heat, it makes you very, very sleepy. Bit more light right in here. I'm a little confused with this one, because it looks like it's, I don't know. I'm just going with it the way it's drawn. The petal looks flipped around to me like it should be the other direction, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to, once they're all done, I think it'll look just fine. So now I'm just going lightly with the white. And because I haven't done this one on white paper, I can't swear to it. Oh, I just noticed that bit right there is probably her hair. I want to be careful not to color that any other weird color. That's probably her hair. Anyway, what was I saying? I haven't colored this one on white paper, but I suspect that the same thing will happen when you're coloring over your grayscale bits, is that your the gray is going to show through and kind of turn your white gray if you were to do it that way. If you were to add some white. It's a little bit heavier. I missed that one. So your white flowers, if you're coloring on white paper will probably be brighter and whiter than mine. Okay, so now I'm going to add 50% cool gray. When I color grayscale, I don't rely on the ink, on the gray of the paper to do my shading. I don't color just over the top and let what's there do it for me. I always go over those shaded bits with my own colors and my own shading, and you'll get a much more, I don't know if realistic is the right word or not, but I think you'll be happier with the look of the page if you go over the gray bits yourself with the shading and so on and so forth. Because I've read some things where the artists talk about grayscale in their descriptions of their page, and they say, and the shading is already done for you. And it's like, well, no, the shade, you should, don't say that, because really it looks a lot better if you do the shading yourself. Okay, let's add some, what is this, eggshell. Let's add some eggshell. I might come in and go over this a little bit more with the white again. Okay, let's see if it needs a little bit more white. Because really, we only did one coat of white, so normally when we do other colors, they get way more than one layer. Here. Okay, now I'm wondering if I want the tiniest bit of even darker. So this is 70%. I'm wondering if that's dark enough. We only want that in the very darkest spots. That's probably enough. Okay, a little bit of yellow ochre. And then I'm actually going to add some white. Okay, so there's our flower. I'm going to sharpen this pencil up a little bit. And we'll just keep going. I think I'm just going to go ahead and keep doing the heavy bits. the next grayscale page that I'm going to do for a color along is going to be done on white paper. So I don't want to, I feel like sometimes I leave out the people that just want to print on white paper. So I figure the next one will do that. I feel like I should have music playing for you guys in the background. When I'm not talking, it feels very quiet. Okay, so now with a much lighter pressure, I'm just going to fill in. This part's easy because really you can just go over the lines, because we kind of want those to be a little bit more faded out anyway, so. Oh yeah, there was something I wanted to show you that I had done, which is another benefit of this paper. And that is, I was looking at my picture before I started filming, and I noticed that there was a dark line, you know, left on her hair around her, right here. There was this dark line, and it bugged me because she wouldn't have a dark line right there. So all I did was take my eggshell pencil and I went right over that line. And I personally have not found the ability to do that when I'm coloring on any of my white papers, but that will just go right over those dark lines. They're not going to get rid of them 100%, but definitely a huge improvement, and helps to add to the realism of the page when there's not coloring, you know, the dark lines that you get from coloring pages. So I did do that before we started. Okay, did I color everything in? Yes, I did. Okay, so you can see how the gray of the ink has already kind of darkened the white that we just laid down on top of up here. But I'm going to come in with my 50%. And I'm going to color that in myself. And if you want, you can mix 20% and 50%. I really like what this 20% looks like and does. So use whichever looks best to you on your page. So I'm kind of switching back and forth. I'm definitely going to want to go over this with some more white. These smaller ones almost don't, almost feel like they don't need it, but I might just need some of the dark. Okay, do I want to add white first or yellow first? Let's do some eggshell first. So let's do the white first, and I'll show you something else. So let's do this first. And I know that this is just all the petal parts, you know, like not the inside stuff, but I like that inside stuff. So I'm going to add that to the center of that one because I just feel like I want to. Okay, do you see how much better? And, you know, when I say this stuff, I'm not saying that anybody's way of doing things is ever wrong. I want that to be clear. Any way that you do it that makes you happy and that you like the outcome, by all means do it. And do not take anything that I say as gospel, because it's not. So, but to my eye, when I compare this flower to this one and this one, I like this one so much better. And that is because we took our 90% cool gray, so a really nice dark color, and we added that in to the deepest shadows of the flowers. So when I color, the more contrast I can get between the lights and the darks, the happier I am. And I think I want to do just a whole video just on the differences of a page when you do that. I think I might actually do a page without the really super darks, and then add, and then do it again, or I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, but then add those darks so you can see the difference. And, you know, maybe that's something that you would like to incorporate into your coloring style as well. I don't know. But I just really like the look. Let's do some just want to put a little bit of the light umber around the base of these. This doesn't really need it. There's not much showing. And that's not even necessarily right, but I like the way it looks, so. Okay, I think those are our flowers. Let's get this one done up here real quick, and we will move on to something else. I like the way those came out. So when you're doing flowers, white ones especially, because when you're doing colored ones, you can use all those different colors to differentiate your petals. But when you're doing white ones, you really have to use colors that you wouldn't necessarily, you know, you don't think about going, oh, I'm going to put gray in my white flower, but it helps differentiate those petals. You could also use some blues, like some bluey grays, and just pull out just like Google white flowers and use reference photos to help you decide what colors you want to use. Because you'll notice that there are a lot more colors than just white in a white flower. You could do light, you know, you could do a tiny little bit of pink. There's a lot you can do. Okay, and I almost feel like there's not quite enough dark on that one, and I used the 70%, I think. So I'm going to take some black. Just add a little bit. Might want a little bit more eggshell on that one. Since I have it out, I'm going to get that put in there. I don't even remember what colors I used for this, but I think this will be okay. Yep, okay. All right, I think I was out of screen for that, but. So there's our flowers. Since I'm up here, maybe we should do that moss or fern, I guess. It's not really moss, it's a fern. So, I'm curious. I would like it if I could do a color different to what we have going on in those leaves, so that it doesn't look like just more of the same flower in a different shape. And let's see, if I just Google fern, all I get is like Boston ferns and stuff like that. So let's try forest fern and see what we get as far as colors go. Okay, so I'm gonna show you what came up here. And my instinct before I pulled this up was to use what color did we use there? It was my brain just stopped working. Celadon or jade. It was one of those two. Celadon probably. So my instinct then was to use that in here, so that we're still using the similar colors, but we're making that pop a little bit. And as soon as I pulled this up and this picture came up, I know that that's probably more due to lighting than the actual color of the fern, because you know, I'm not seeing like, you know, those bluey colored ferns anywhere else here on the page, but I really like the way that looks. I know this thing makes the colors all weird on my page. It makes the page look really, really warm. But anyway, I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to pull out that Celadon Green. and make that the predominant color for those ferns. And then we can add other little olivey greens to it as an accent, but I want it to be predominantly that color. So that's Celadon Green. Sometimes when you're trying to decide what colors to use on a page, pulling things up on Google that have the colors that will help to inspire you, and you can actually, kind of see those colors next to your page. It'll kind of help you go, oh, I really like that, or, maybe that's not the right color to use. I use my iPad and a Google search for inspiration and reference photos all the time. Especially for reference photos, because I need to know what certain things look like. Okay, so there's our Celadon Green on there. And then I think I'll take, because I always do like the way it looks, I think I'll take this Kelp Green. And I want to try really hard not to do so much of it that it overpowers the Celadon. I'm going to just kind of do it down the center, maybe. I don't want it to overpower it at all. That's good. It still has that bluey color. I know it's not blue, but hopefully you know what I mean. Okay, that's good. I like that. And since we're up there, let's do the blueberries. I don't know what color to do those blueberries. I think we want to do a little bit of purple, just a teensy little bit. And I have some colors in some of my other brands of pencils. That's always really good for blueberries. Let's do Indigo Blue and Blue Lake. Blue Lake? Yeah, that's a color. See, that's a color I don't use very often, so I'm not super familiar with it. Blue Lake. As you can tell, it's a really long pencil. Okay, do I want to add white first? I'm going to add white, but only in the bright areas. Okay. Then I'm going to do the Indigo Blue. And Blue Lake. Let's see what this does. I like that. Now white again. to come in with some black. I've got to find it. So really, really lightly, just at the very bottom. And try and leave a tiny sliver of that light color at the bottom. So you're adding your dark to the bottom of the berry, but leaving some reflective light around the very bottom. Okay, I like that. They stand out. That works for me. I'm gonna put a little bit of, there's a green stem here I missed, so I'll put a little bit of color there. And actually, I think a little bit more of this just at the base of the, so this is that Kelp Green. Just to kind of darken it down right in here where the berries are. Okay, now, I just saw this and I'm wondering, God, I hope I was in frame then. I'm wondering if that's supposed to be, what is that supposed to be? I don't know. You know, sometimes pulling up the artist page might help. And actually, let's see. I got up to see if I can find the book. Okay, so sometimes looking at the artist's original helps you to know what something is. So here's the artist's, the cover of her book, and it looks like that's just supposed to be one of these leaves here. So I'll just take, because I kind of have these out, so maybe I'll just do that. This is Celadon. Just use that a little bit there. And Kelp. And Espresso. Okay, done. All right, so let me zoom out because I feel like I'm consistently out of frame right now. So there is, yeah, we're good. We're gonna work on the mushrooms now, and then we'll be able to do the background. Okay, so let's just see about this. What do I want? I think I want some light umber, espresso. You guys should see my my Prismacolor. I want to call it a notebook. It's not a notebook. My case. You can so totally tell the colors that I use all the time because they're super short, and the colors that I don't use very much are all a lot longer. Okay, I want something beigey, maybe peach beige. Let's see. Hello. Okay, well, we know we're going to use Beige Sienna because that's just, that'd be one of my colors. except that I can't find it. Okay, let's go to my, all right, but I also want to use something even lighter. So I think beige more than peach beige. Beige. Okay. So I'm going to start. Do I want to start with white? I'm going to very, very lightly use what she's done here with the texture of the mushroom, because I like it. Just put a tiny little bit of white down. And then, okay, so here maybe is an example. I'm hoping that it works and that I'm right in my, so in her mushroom, she's got a lot of dark down in here as well. And I kind of want mine to be a little bit lighter down here. So just by adding the lighter color over what is already there, and then putting your color on top, I showed you that when I did the leaves, you give yourself the freedom to kind of do what you want. You don't have to keep the dark areas dark. Okay, so now when I come in with this light umber and go over the peach that I just laid down, we're getting to kind of maintain some of that lighter, some of those lighter colors down there. Got a little bit of something there. I don't know what that is. Probably, it's probably food. And if it's still not light enough and you still want more lightness, then you come in with white. Okay, I'm going to go over this whole thing with light umber first. Espresso. And I want that to be a little bit lighter at the top, but not super bright. So I think I want this to just keep going darker. And then I might try doing a little bit of blending. Fabulous. Okay, I am going to use my white down here to preserve the light. Beige Sienna for that? I don't know. It's funny, the Beige Sienna is so close to the color of the paper. Okay. Light umber. I'm debating on bringing some yellow of some kind. But what? Eggshell might be too late. But I don't really want it to be yellow. Yeah, I like that. Eggshell, I think, might be the color for the stems. But I am going to put a little bit more espresso. Like that. The question is, do I even want black? Yeah, I'll probably add the black at the end when I can just start adding it in all over the whole thing. So, okay, let's do another mushroom. I'm going to use Eggshell for the highlighty, stripey thing on that one. And I don't want all the mushrooms to be of the same color because that might be very kind of boring. So what other browns? This is chocolate. Sometimes chocolate can look really red. But on Greyscale, reds are good because those reddish tones really counteract the gray color that's down on the page and help to warm it up a lot. So chocolate still. Well, it's interesting because that chocolate really didn't show up as looking very much different than the colors that I already have down. Black. Okay, so what if we tried, I wonder if there's such a thing as greenish mushrooms. I do want to get some mossy color in here. Maybe we do that right now. Maybe that will help me. So I'm thinking that all of this would be mossy and green, and I like the Kelp Green for that. And it also helps to keep my color palette consistent and to my eye, it's more interesting It's more pleasing to the eye when I don't have a gazillion colors. Like I wouldn't want to throw in, you know, like apple green in here or Kelly green. I think that I would not be happy with that. I could be wrong. It might be great. I do want something a little bit brighter though, so maybe that chartreuse we used before, I think, or it wasn't chartreuse, what was it? Limepeel. Let's try a little bit of Limepeel for the bright. We did use some olive green on the other page. Not other page, the top of the page. So let's try some of that. Oh, I can feel my lead. It was wobbly. Okay. I don't know if something happened. It feels like my pencils are breaking more. And I don't know what's going on. Okay. Dang. Okay. I don't know what happened here. I don't know if I just don't know. Okay, here we go again. So you guys know that does happen to those Prismas. But even though that happens, I still love them. This must be a bad pencil. Maybe I dropped it and I don't realize it. Because I can feel it. I can feel it down in there being loose again. That does happen. But when you can get 12 pencils on Dick Blick for $1 and pennies each, and you compare that to the cost of the other, you know, higher end pencils, it makes it worth it to me to have some that occasionally have breakage problems. Okay, so this is black. Works. Okay, back to the mushrooms. That helps me have a little bit more green down here, and And so now I don't feel as strong of a need for green mushrooms because I've pulled that green from the top of the page now down to the bottom as well. Okay, so I do want a really rich, dark mushroom though. So maybe we'll do that one, really dark. So this one we're going to do dark at the bottom and a little bit lighter at the top. So this is light, what is this? Light umber. Jeez Louise. And espresso. I'm wondering if I can add another color in here to get this, like chestnut or something maybe, you know, to get it. Because I did pull up some mushrooms. I know you can get some that have really dark reddish. And I want something else in here. So chestnut. We'll give it another. That's good. I like that. Chestnut is good. A little bit more espresso. Yeah, I like that. And then if we wanted to, we could just put a little bit of highlight-ish light. Okay, but we want the stem to remain beigey. Bit of white. Maybe a little bit more white. And espresso. Black. Okay, I like the chestnut a lot. So it almost looks like they're all kind of different kinds of mushrooms because of just the shapes of them are all really different. This one has a really skinny stem. And I like how she's got it kind of modeled, extra modeled, almost like what a watercolor would look like. So I am going to add all of the white model-y bits in here because I like the idea of it being spotty. And then what color do I want to use? What if we were to use like Sienna Brown? What do I want to do to the top? Burnt ochre, maybe? kind of similar. So what about Eggshell, or maybe something a little bit darker? How about Jasmine? But I'm going to do Sienna Brown for the stem. And a little bit more Sienna Brown. I like it. Eggshell. Okay, let's do this one. The way it's shaded, it almost looks like the top of this is indented. And I don't know if it's supposed to be like that or if it just looks like that because it's not colored and I can't really tell what it's supposed to be. I kind of want it to be not there. So chestnut on top. Beige Sienna on bottom. Light umber. And espresso. Eggshell. That works. What color do we do the stem? Probably this raw umber, not raw umber, light umber. Get your colors straight. Beige sienna, and just a teeny bit of white. Some espresso. Okay, I like how they're looking. Here. Yeah, these mushrooms, those are special mushrooms. I need to do a little bit of, I want to do a check on those. 'Cause those are like, I don't even know what I would call those, but those look like upside down mushrooms. I just don't know. So, if I do a little search for, they're not upside down mushrooms. What would I call those? And they're not really. Okay, I'm going to do something really weird and ask for inverted umbrella mushroom. Let's see what I come up with. Upside down umbrella mushroom is what pops up. And let's see. Nope, see, their upside down umbrella mushroom is different. So there's kind of just doing that. And we want ones that are showing their underbelly. Kind of like that, kind of like that, kind of like that, kind of like that. Maybe we do those in kind of white, lighter colors, white, and let's try that. So I'm going to use my white. I'm going to use it for all the little lines. Frame, yes. So we'll make these a little brighter. I like that idea very much. See, that's another reason why using the web as a resource really helps. This one almost looks like one of those chanterelle mushrooms. I think that's what they're called. So, I'm almost tempted to kind of like, in this case, I kind of like what the paper looks like shining through as part of my color, but if you're coloring on white, you can't do that, so probably would use maybe some light umber and white mixed together. We could even throw some gray in here, and I think that would look nice. The 20% cool gray. So that's what I would use. If you're coloring on white paper for these mushrooms, I would use white, light umber, and like 20% cool gray. I think that looks nice. Okay, just a couple more. We just knock those out. And I'm going to do this one kind of like I did that one. So get some white lines there. And we used what? Chocolate for that one. Chocolate. And espresso. The bottom. Okay, and those, I just want those to be kind of like little buttony mushrooms. So maybe beige. Beige works. Sienna Brown, maybe. Sienna Brown. Beige. Espresso, because it needs something. Okay, do we need to add any black in here? Oh, we missed a mushroom. Okay. Light umber. Espresso. And this needs something. Needs something. So I just did little teeny tiny lines as my to get the color down so that it kind of mimicked what was happening there, and then a little bit of black. Okay, and I almost feel like I want a little bit of black. Right there. Okay. Alrighty, that is where we are at. I have no idea how much time we took up, and I might keep going. I'm not sure. Let me check the time, see where we're at, and if we have time, we'll do the background, and if not, then we'll come back and do it on the next video. So I'll see you in just a sec. Okay, so we are at about an hour and a half, so I guess I will wrap up the video for today. I really like the way the page is coming along, and the background that we're going to do is going to be this really pretty rich blue, and so I think that'll be just enough pop of color to make everything else stand out and look really cool. So thank you all so much for hanging out with me. If you liked this video and you like my channel, please give my videos likes before you leave. It really helps to get them to be seen and helps me grow my channel and keep making content and all that good stuff. So I appreciate you all. You're awesome. And that'll do it for today. Until I see you guys next time, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and happy coloring. Bye.